All right, let's dive into a story about a premium smartphone brand that thought they had it all figured out. They were on top of the world, or so they thought, but a really shocking discovery was about to change everything they knew about their own customers.
So, on the surface, things looked amazing. This brand had an 89% customer retention rate. I mean, that's a number any company would be incredibly proud of, right? It just screams intense loyalty and a powerful brand connection. But then, a consultant they hired comes along and asks this brilliant and frankly kind of uncomfortable question. Are your customers sticking around because they truly love you, or are they just staying because leaving is a giant pain? It's a subtle difference, but it's absolutely crucial.
And look, this wasn't just some philosophical debate in a boardroom. There was a massive $2.4 million marketing budget just waiting to be spent on this huge campaign to reward all of this supposed loyalty.
So getting this wrong was a huge gamble. There were two giant risks. First, you could waste millions on these beautiful, emotional ads aimed at customers who really only care about convenience. And second, you're left completely vulnerable to a savvy competitor who figures out how to make switching easy.
Here's the problem, though. Your traditional research methods, they just weren't going to cut it. In focus groups and surveys, people often give you the right answer. They'll say, oh, I love this brand, when what they really mean is, I'm just used to it. They needed to see what customers would actually do, not just what they'd say.
So, to dig up the real truth, they decided to launch an AI investigation.
They used a platform called Atypica.ai. Now, the best way to think about this is like a virtual wind tunnel for brands. It's designed to stress test loyalty by creating these simulated worlds where all the annoying friction that keeps customers stuck, transferring data, learning a new system, just completely disappears.
So, how did they actually do it? How did they remove that friction to get to the real story?
Well, the process is actually surprisingly simple. Step 1, you define your core research question. Step 2, you select these things called AI personas. Just think of them as these incredibly realistic digital twins of your customer segments. And then, step 3, you run the experiment. You put those personas into that virtual wind tunnel and see what happens.
The whole experiment was built around this really powerful what-if scenario. They asked the AI personas, okay, imagine a new brand pops up tomorrow. It's got the same price, same features, and here's the key, 0 switching costs. All your photos, all your apps, your settings, everything transfers over in just a few minutes. What do you do?
And what the AI found? Well, it wasn't just some interesting insight. It was a complete game changer that absolutely shattered the brand's illusion of success.
Remember that incredible 89% retention rate? Turns out, it was a mirage. The AI revealed that only 27%, just 27% of their customers were genuinely loyal. A staggering 73% were simply locked into the ecosystem. They were staying out of convenience and inertia, not love.
And the difference was crystal clear in how they talked. I mean, the language tells the whole story. The locked-in group, they talked about rational things, like costs and hassle and investment. But the truly loyal group, they talked about identity and emotion. They used words like trust, values, and what the brand represents to them.
Just listen to this quote from one of the ecosystem-locked AI personas. It says it all, really. For them, brand loyalty was just a weekend project they kept putting off. They weren't loyal. They were just busy.
Now, contrast that with a quote from a genuinely loyal persona. See the difference? For this person, the brand isn't just a tool, it's a part of who they are. Switching would feel like a betrayal of their own identity. You can't just buy that kind of loyalty, but you can definitely nurture it.
So, armed with this incredible insight, the consultant basically tore up the old playbook and built a brand new, much smarter, surgical marketing strategy.
Instead of that generic one-size-fits-all campaign, they split the budget and they split the strategy. They finally stopped treating everyone the same and started talking to each group about what they actually cared about.
So, for the 27% who are true believers, they doubled down on emotion, creating exclusive communities and telling stories that reinforce their values. And for the 73% who were just locked in, they stopped wasting emotional ads and instead focused on reinforcing that lock-in with new accessories and deeper integrations. It's pragmatic, but it's really, really smart.
And here's the real kicker. This game-changing insight, the one that totally reshaped a multi-million-dollar strategy, wasn't found over weeks for tens of thousands of dollars. It was uncovered in just 25 minutes for about the cost of a nice dinner. The efficiency is just staggering.
You know, this case study really just exposes the critical difference between having a captive audience and having a true community. And it leaves us with a really provocative question to ask about any brand we use, or any business we might work for. If all the friction just disappeared tomorrow, who would actually choose to stay?